In this video, I'm going to cover the options that you have within the settings menu of your gradebook on Campus Instruction Beta from Infinite Campus. Once you have logged into Campus Instruction Beta, click on Gradebook on the left-hand side. And then it is not as intuitive, but the settings panel within your gradebook is where you're going to find the majority of your options to set up your gradebook this year. When you expand the settings, you'll see that there's a lot more going on here than there was last year under Gradebook Beta. The first thing that I want to point out is something that has stayed the same, and that is the ability to filter students to only one particular student. You can also filter them down to a missing assignment flag, or if they are failing in their progress report grade, so that way you can easily keep track of your students better. You can also filter down to one particular student, which is useful when you're meeting with parents. A feature that did come up with Campus Instruction Beta that was not available under Gradebook Beta last year is the ability to filter by assignments. And with that, you can filter by category, which is reminiscent of the old style gradebook, the green and yellow one, where you could expand and collapse categories. This would enable you to show only one set of categories on the right-hand side under your assignments. If I shrink this in, I only have one category in this mock class, so it doesn't help as much, but if I were to select demo, it would show only my demo assignments, the assignments that fall under the demo category. If I were to switch the category again, it would change to be only the other category. You can also show assignments that are only due this week, only due next week, or have a missing flag. So that makes it really handy to filter down your assignments on the right-hand side to be only what you want. You then have the ability to also set up assignment marks, and this pretty much stays the same. I wouldn't really mess with anything in here, but it lets you see what the grading schematic is for the different cutoffs for the letter grades for your grading scales. The assignment list will give you an overview of all the assignments that you have created for the class, as well as the due dates, whether they are active and whether they are appearing on the campus portal. And then you can also see whether an online submission is allowed, whether it is an online assessment, if it is aligned to the gradebook, or if it is unaligned. So again, it's all about filtering down to only the assignments that you need to see. Categories is where you can see all of your categories, what weight they are, whether they are excluded from the calculation, and whether you are dropping the lowest percentage, as well as sequence them if you'd like them to appear in a specific order. You can also add categories here. Don't forget to click Save and then Close once you've added categories. I covered this briefly in my first video, but you can copy categories from previous years to this year, which is a new feature from the new Campus Instruction Beta. So you can find the class from last year, find the class from this year that you want to copy it to, and then go through the process of copying. It's a fairly straightforward system to go through. Grade calc options I also covered in the first video, but this is where you would cover the grade calc options that you set underneath assignments last year. Pretty much the middle school is BEMS numeric for all the sections, and then the high school is high school numeric for everything except for the final grade, which is high school alpha. Grading scales will again let you review the grading scales that the district has set up, so that way you can see what the different cutoffs are. Now the preferences that you see below are the same as Gradebook Beta last year, but the sparkline graph is a little graph that will appear to the right of the student's name that will calculate or change based on how the student is doing with their assignments, and it can be very useful for keeping track of whether a particular student has been doing well all year and then their grades are starting to drop, or whether the opposite is true. You can also turn on pass-fail coloring for grades as well as for scores, and that, if you see on the right hand side, makes it really handy because it color codes the grade based on whether they are pass-fail. You can also give yourself a save alert and turn on the ability to use canned comments. You can also turn off all of them, and it will have no effect on what the students see on Campus Portal. Then finally, you can have the assignments sorted by category, by sequence, or by date. I like sorting them by due date up with the ascending method until we get to midterm, and then turn on descending, and it will basically flip-flop it. So you're only scrolling so far to the right to midterm, and then by the end of the quarter, you're not scrolling at all as the grades flip-flop. So that is the that is the settings under Campus Instruction Beta. If you have any questions at all, feel free to get in touch.